Hello, everybody. Back on October 27th, Wednesday, we did a live stream, an event that happened at the Barrel and Keg here in Salem. We did a live stream, but as always, when I do a live stream, things, could go wrong, like the sound. And so there wasn't very much. So I'm going to redo that program here today. So what this is this is the book launch for November Reconsidered. November Reconsidered is a book that I completed in 2021, published by Cirque Press. So before I get going with reading some poems, I have some thank yous I need to make. First, a big thank you to Cirque Press, Sandy Clevern, and Mike Burwell, the editors over there. They did a terrific job. Also, Dale Champlin, who is a great graphic artist, and I love working with Dale, and she's terrific. The book looks absolutely beautiful inside and out, and so it's great that she was able to do that for me. Before I sent the manuscript out to publishers, I sent it to a number of trusted Oregon poets. And so a big thank you to Jim Merrill, to Tim Fow, to Carol Huddle, and to Vera McCarty. All of them had some suggestions, some corrections, and other ideas that I took into consideration before I sent it to publishers. For the back of the book, I had blurbs I had to put in there. I hadn't had to do blurbs before. I'm so grateful to have Pauline Peterson, a former Oregon laureate, who's so generous with her time and kind words. Also, Eleanor Berry and Phil Taggart um, put blurbs in there. A big thank you to the Salem Poetry Project. Every week we have a Thursday event. It's a wonderful community and so nice that we are able to be inspired by each of those words. And so thank you very much for that. And finally, this book is dedicated to three people: my wife Laura, my son Tom, and my daughter Kate, who are all wonderful. I love you very much. And so I dedicate the book to you. Before I start reading before I start reading poems from my book, I wanted to read a poem by somebody else. So this is a poem by Clem Stark, and if you're familiar with his work, another Oregon poet, you'll probably be familiar with this poem. Uh, it's called Me and Maloney. Here's the poem. Job's nearly over. Me and Maloney, all that's left of the crew. Sunk in the hillside, hundreds of tons of reinforced concrete formed into the shape of a drum. 92 feet in diameter, 18 feet deep. It could be a kiva or a hat box. Or look from the air like a missile silo. It could be a storage tank for toxic waste. It could be a vault to the national treasure. In any case, it's finished. Ready for backfill. Now it's the Earth's. And I'm left with Maloney, who likes to drink beer after work and tell stories, construction stories, ex-wife stories. Stories like how he likes to club possums to death with a 2x4 when he finds them prowling in the back of his warehouse at night. He laughs, telling stories. Maloney quit drinking once. After a year and 9 months, he decided he'd rather die of alcohol than boredom. I know what he means. I work for Maloney Construction. When it rains, we work in the rain. When it snows, we work in the snow. I'm Maloney's right hand man. When he laughs, I laugh too. I really like that poem for a number of reasons, but primarily one of the reasons that I like it is I find myself in it. I find myself in it. I've never worked in construction before, not seriously, but I find myself in it because I've been the right hand man for kind of a demanding boss, a boss who's kind of a lot, more than once. So I can find myself in there. In November 2019, I was sitting at the Toyota dealership waiting for my wife's car service to be done. And I was thinking to myself, I need to think of a series of poems, something I can write toward. And I thought maybe I'd do like 5, 10, something like that. And as I was sitting at the dealership, I was looking around, lots of people there, all waiting for their cars. Old people, young people, kids, men, women. I thought to myself, well, we're kind of all into this together. This is something that everyone's kind of experienced, waiting for car service. Maybe I can do something like that, just like find a moment and in those moments, write in it deeply enough to find some commonality that would help, that would at least kind of have an expression. And so that's what I did with this book, November Reconsidered. If you read it, you'll notice, if you're astute, that there are these poems are written for specific moments in a day, different days, different times. But each day has 7 poems. So when I got like 5, 10 poems into this thing, 15 poems, I thought to myself, what I really need to do is have like some themes, something that people can kind of like grab onto. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read one poem from each day and talk about kind of the themes that we had. Aside from these broader themes, there are other kind of motifs and thoughts that kind of flow through the book, and you'll kind of see a little bit of that too as the reading goes on. Uh, okay, so this is the first one I'm going to read. It's called Mr. Mousley's English Class, 9:45 a.m. Monday, November 12th, 1979. For this reason, it's fine. Um, all of Monday's poems are about going to school, education. Sometimes it's going to school, sometimes it's in the classroom, homework, coming back, kind of all areas. Water. Here's the poem. Timed haiku writing. 3 minutes, then pencils down. Mousley scribed up and down the aisles, asking to read students haiku aloud. You want me to read this? He asked, smiling. I shrugged. The dirty old jockstrap rests on the trash can lid, rotting there today. Who writes haikus? In a freshman English class wedged between shop and consumer math, not AP, not bonehead, that middle English period for kids who do not care enough to do too much or too little, the bare minimum set. The anti studying crowd, the semi stoners, the baseball cap jocks, the gag me with a spoon crew, the shit kickers, the I'm not going to use this in my life whiners from people who have never lived. They're probably correct. They will not write a haiku after today. Buffy eats his turds, steaming from the ground. Nom nom, they are delicious. It's easier to coast, or to just stop, live down to the expectations of the slag, work against the dreams of family, finally in the walls of this small town, shit out of life, comprised of a series of unfulfilling, underpaid jobs, maybe 2 or 3 at a time, an ex-wife, a beater car, blame the Mexicans and have another beer to salve the wounds of your own omnipotence and mistake of location. Writing a haiku in 3 minutes won't change your life. Would never help in filling out a job application, interview preparation, writing an obituary, a letter to someone you love. expressing thoughts concisely, work reviews, responses to work reviews, completing forms, explanations to the court, or maybe it's just about writing haikus. Cleaver is not too smart. Everyone knows. Yuck. What is in this lemon snow cone? Tuesday. Tuesday. This is the poem for Tuesday. The Toyota dealership, 8:15 a.m., Tuesday, November 13th, 2001. All the titles in this book are kind of along the same pattern here, with a location, a time, a day, and then a date. Here's the poem. Oh, Tuesday's poems are about work. They're about work. And so a lot of these poems are centered around this Toyota dealership. I've never worked as a car salesman, like these poems might suggest. But I have worked in sales. I worked in senior housing. I was a sales manager at a retirement community here in Oregon, and so I'm familiar with all these sales jargons. But I just didn't think that most people would relate to doing a buy-in at a retirement community. So I went with something that everyone's done: buying cars. This is from the other side. This is from the salesman side, but I think that it has something that a lot of us experience all the time. There's also some poems in there about my current job working for the state of Oregon. But anyway, this is the 8:15 poem. Here we go. Puddles. Cars sheen and water beads from new paint. It is early, a coffee and mints kind of day, heavy with precipitation, and more on the way. No one buys a car in the rain. Only smart people buy a car in the rain. Then today's the day, you're the guy, this is the place. The price is the same. Negotiation. The purchase is the same. It's the people who are different. Typically, people who think more than they do. Climbing the stairs to hear the GSM cry about the sales figures, hand out a set of cheap steak knives, bust our balls, and kiss our asses. Then today's the day, you're the guy, this is the place. This is the life of a salesman, a handshake, a smile, a measurement, an accounting based on experience of what any person can do for you before moving on to the next. The trick is to be genuine, not appear genuine, and in that genuineness, make a difference. The difference of sell and eat or don't sell and burn out. Already there are people in the showroom, sitting, waiting like vapors for service to finish. A familiar lot lizard prowls the SUVs between sheets of rain, praying for a deal that will never come. He's a bust out with a clunker. Today is the day. This is the place. You are the guy. Transactional. That's what people say about me. That everything is a transaction. What in life is not a transaction? As if that was a negative. Money is life's most purest, uncomplicated form. What the heck was that? I say I love you. You say something. I do something for you. I expect something down the road or later or tomorrow or when I die. Money is the most honest part of human existence. Work some emails, work some phones, work on point, and a black jacket that beads rain like sweat. Every interaction is important. Everyone is someone's dad, someone's brother, someone's friend, and they all need something. Buy or die. Buy or die? Who's dying in this scenario? Red tags and running ink. People who think one thing will get another. Okay. Wednesday. Red Shelter A, 6:15 a.m., Wednesday, November 9th, 2005. These poems, Wednesday's poems, are all about travel, mostly air travel. And if you read through these things in order, you'll kind of see that they're moving from Portland to um, New Orleans, actually. So anyway, it was great writing these poems. They're some of my favorites. And so as a employee of holiday retirement, I worked on the road a lot. I was out on the road maybe once every 2, 3 months, sometimes for a short period of time, sometimes for extended. And so I became very familiar with PDX in those years. So here's the poem. It is raining, but we are not puddles. We are not petals on a rain slicked bough. It's too dark and too cold for that. People stomp more like shadows in the red lit shelter. The first stop on the economy lot. Anxiety has a flavor, like copper or carnations. Waiting for red bus number 3 to come from the parkway. Waiting to wait for the next thing. This bus is supposition. Everything is ahead. Will there be a problem with the ticket? Will the plane be on time? Will the bags make it? Will I get my shoes off and on? Will I have time for breakfast? Will I miss the connection? Will we crash? Will. Preparation. Bags packed. Boarding pass checked. Parking time receipt stowed. An aisle number noted on its backside. Car locked. Apparitions of children not stirring yet. Already miles and miles away. How to prepare for distance. This flushed shelter is the little release, a short ride to the causeway of rumbled, unheard conversations, worried people plodding, pulling boxes behind them like devoted dogs, relinquishing power to the professionals, pilots, ground crew, security, air traffic controllers who ferry you. In this time, no decisions, no real decisions are yours. Past how to walk and how to wait. The beginning is opening your eyes. The beginning is turning the shower handle. The beginning is closing the house door. The beginning is closing the car door. The beginning is turning the key. The beginning is turning away from the driveway. Beginning. This is the beginning. A 5-minute ride to the terminal. Thursday. We had the book launch on Wednesday at the Bell and Keg. Thursday's poems were all about friendship, caring for each other, that kind of thing. We had poetry events at the Bell and Keg for I think a year or two. Um, they had a hamburger there that was so good. It ended a friendship of mine that was so good. I'll just leave it at that. That's how good it was. Okay. This is called the Bale and Keg Food Cart, 6:30 p.m. Thursday, November 7th, 2019. If cooking is an act of love, Then what is eating? Love contained in thick, sliced onions. Love expressed in a thick, in sorry, love expressed in a fresh brioche bun halved and toasted on the grill in rendered butter. Love expressed in lettuce washed and shaped. Love enclosed through, yes, a formed patty. Love and all these things may not be enough. The perfect hamburger does not spontaneously appear. It is planned, scheduled, schemed, specifically constructed like the Tower of Babel or the Great Wall of China. And like these wonders of human enterprise, world altering in their scope and hubris, in this creative extravagance are the basic elements, the base necessities of sublime sandwich fabrication, which includes, in measured and specific amounts, sweat, clocks, money, education, practice, supply chain economics, logistics, and zeitgeist. Love paints with a large brush. Love is a house painter. This perfect system, formulated from the food cart behind the building keg, I don't even know if it's there anymore, requires details, fine points, specifics, requires choosing the number 6 liner brush over the Graco airless paint sprayer. How the patty is made, what percent meat and what percent fat, what kind of beef and where does it come from and what does it eat, and a touch of pork fat and mayo or aioli. And is there bacon? And how is it smoked? And is there pepper? And sharp cheddar cheese. And then there are the onions. So many layers. If white onions say, I love you, what do red onions say? Or pickled red onions? I can make this for you. To sustain you out of love. Because I love you, you can taste it, but I don't have pickled red onions at the house. No one does. And if cooking is love, then what is eating? There are technical terms: sear, mouthfeel, presentation, etc. None of that matters. All of it is important. There are blueprints and caricatures, smooth line flowcharts that draw from one element to the next. There are 100 details, 1,000 between the thought and the mouth. Conglomerate choices that communicate to the table and to the throat. Supporting this activity is a divine act of commerce, the language of the spatula. It is called skill. From the first taste, you will know if this is heaven. You will know if this is hell or some suspicious purgatorio. When I say, I love you, don't say, I know. Search your feelings. Let your answer play through your teeth. Engage every area of your tongue and answer the best you can with a blush of appreciation, with efficient sensitivity, with a bite full of love. Okay, so we made it to Friday. Friday's poems are all about preparation, getting ready to do something, as it seemed like Friday has always been, for me at least. And so this is a poem from Friday. In the car, Friday, 5:10 p.m., November 20th, 2019. And this poem comes with a sideways glance at Elephant Talk, which is a song by King Crimson. Ears get exasperated. They are open thoroughfares. Everything enters. No knock, no call ahead, no stopping it. Everything just swirls in. The ear. Oh, the ear. The outer ear speaks to the pinna, ear canal, and eardrum. Highways, broad avenues. of vibrations revealed in air. The middle ear peeps small, chatters three tiny bones. The malice, the incus, the stapes. The malice tap, tap, taps from the eardrum, linking it to the outer ear and the smallest bone in the body, verbalizes to the inner ear, the hearing part of the inner ear, the cochlea, which confesses thousands of sensory hair cells which speak to the central hearing system via the auditory nerve. And now, vented, in this last act of the work week, the car door closes, engine parlays to life, NPR wants listeners to be concerned about this, worried about that, all of it outside of anyone's control. Switching to music, you hear the same chords and the same worn out lyrics, even from the newest songs. The week was long, every week, a marathon of noise, lousy with meetings, meetings about meetings after meetings to discuss the meetings and the talk. It's only talk. Bicker, brouhaha, balderdash, ballyhoo. And in that jumbled tangle, that confused cacophony, that wretched refuse smashed into the auditory nerve, it's just another stimulus for the brain day and night. Let the brain handle it. Even sleeping, the signals keep coming in, even in that sated state, and not necessarily very loud, but strange enough to snap unconsciousness, snoring, a naked creak, the sound of water dripping onto carpet, the whisper of of little clawed feet on linoleum, always there, continuous parade of sound. Ride home, the radio off, even though it's cold, partially lower the window and let loose the symphony of 60 miles an hour. Chill wind on the window frame, tire choirs on the Salem Parkway. Rain has begun to fall, changing the pitch of I pass you and you pass me, all wrapped in the grandeur of engines and cylinders and heater, the creaking instrument of an older vehicle, uncomplicated, without expectation, without worry, without weight, the sound of everything sounds. Slowing, accelerating, traffic lights and stoplights, retardando into the parking space, the engine stills, emits sleeping ticks. The rain taps on the roof and windshield in natural polyrhythms. Hearing all day. Now entering home. It is time to listen. A lot of these are kind of bombastic. It's not going to get any less so here in this next poem. Saturday's poems were all about outside, being outside. So there's a lot of soccer poems in these Saturday poems, which is, when the soccer games happen. And so this is one of them. Waurika Union High School football field, 6:02 p.m., Saturday, November 6th, 1982. And this poem begins with a Bible verse from Romans 12, verses 4 and 5. And that reads, just as our bodies have many parts, each part has a special function. So it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. Here's the poem. This is what happened. The final game of the Lions tournament, Timbers in their blue on blue Zimbelman construction jerseys, and us, the Quakes, wearing dark purple with Kiwanis Club spelled in yellow. Two of three teams that practice in the same field, Players went to the same school. The Timbers kicked off. It went to their side. It came back. The midfielder passed it to their forward, who bypassed our central defender. The ball bounced clear, and I slide tackled the ball and the man to stop the play. One of us pounced on the ball and moved back down the field. Early in the first half, you have to set a tone. Let people know what to expect on both sides, both teams. This is how it's going to be. Let your allies know this is what I'm prepared to do. This is what I expect of you. Sometimes a soccer game is only a contest of wills. A will that is imposed on one player to another, from one team to another, from one moment to another. Maybe it's not that different from anything else, really. This is what happened. I never liked Trevor Zedeker. He was an aloof ass, younger, tall, fast, the Timbers' new striker. After the referee blew the whistle, Trevor kicked off, pushed forward, and stopped when Clyde stood up his man. The game was always going to be push and pull, call and response, David and Goliath, storm and stress. It would follow the tides, the moon's gravitational force on Earth. Seconds later, the Timbers midfielder put his pass up the middle. Trevor burned Cisco, and the ball bounced towards me, where I abandoned their left wing and made a decision to slide in, touch the ball, and do as much damage to Trevor as I could physically without breaking the rules too bad. I left my feet and came in from his left, slicing the ball neatly away, my left knee and body toppling the streaking forward. A soccer team is like a body. Alfredo is the heart, Clyde the lungs, Epi the eyes, Cisco the arms. I'm the part of the body that will break a motherfucker's legs if necessary. At 16 years old, I feel like my body has returned to me. I can run for days, never stop, jump over cars, over sheds, eat massive amounts of pancakes, ice cream, pizza. He is as close to Superman as I will ever be. And in this context, for 90 minutes, me co-equal with everyone else on both teams know what to expect on the right side of defense. A ragged rage that will unloose on anyone it can reach. This is what happened. Two teams met under the lights on a cold November football field, the soccer goal set up under the uprights. The center grass ripped open like a scab, gelatinous mud crystals oozing a mouth-coating fertilizer scent, breath like locomotive stacks on a late fall evening. Trevor burned Cisco, and I made a decision. I soared in from the right, slid through the slurry, white shorts would never be white again, touched the ball away. Trevor tried to avoid my tackle. He still put his cleat on my knee, making sure that it would bleed for the whole game. My slide upended him. He landed hands and face first. The ball bounced up to Fredo. Cisco and Clyde yelled, "Yeah!" I stood up and pushed the line up the field. The ball went out of bounds, and they carried Trevor to the sideline. He would return for more in the second half. I don't know if I'd ever been happier. Sunday. Sunday's kind of about everything else. This is a poem from Sunday. On the couch, 3:30 p.m. Sunday, November 3rd, 2019. There is something about Sunday afternoon that lures eyelids close to each other. There are orphan tasks yet to nurture on this waning weekend, but all the energy has emptied. The momentum melted. In its place, indecision. In its place, indecision that waves like uncut grass laughing in the backyard, that delivers dandelion seed umbrellas to the side yard. It could be sunny, it could be rainy, a movie on TV, a soccer game. It's all the same. Maybe the weight of Monday is too much, the last chaos before the ordering exercise of meals and observances of evening. These hindmost hours, Hallowed hours before expectation. Pull a body, tug it. The way the moon pulls the earth toward repose. Sweet, sweet repose. What is more luxurious, calming, and gratifying? 60 minutes of lost time put to its most welcome use. I've got one more poem to read. And so if you've stuck with me this far, thank you. And if you want the book, of course, go on to Amazon. It's November Reconsidered there and under Marc Janssen, Janssen. This is the last poem in the book. It's called In the Dark, 11:55 p.m. Wednesday, November 23rd, 2005. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? After 10 days, 15 days on the road, carrying the drooping dust of airports and planes and rental cars, carrying the spent scars of odious meetings and angry time zones, 10 days of obligation, 10 days that liabilitate everything that makes men live shorter lives than women. After 10 days, the children have changed. Their faces, the food they like to eat, what they hate. Their emotional scars have been rearranged. They intuited something from you in their road to leave. They are less of you for a while, a little more distant, a little more grown up. Responsibility has settled with them in ways that were not there had I not left for 10 days. They want less, listen less, need less. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? Risk breaking her slumber as you flag off the socks you donned 17 hours ago in the dark. Exhaust pants, the logoed polo at the hamper. Slip into bed. There are adjustments now to the November rain, to the November expectation, the November settlement, schedules and scoldings, homework and housework. They adjust to me and I adjust to them. Do you kiss a sleeping wife? Yes, on the cheek. Thank you for sticking with me this long. I appreciate it. Have a good day.